A friend of mine, Mr. Terry O'Sullivan, was Maggie's proud way of introduction. She led him around the room, introducing him to each Cloverleaf member as they entered the door. She looked almost pretty now, with her pink cheeks and the unusual shine in her eyes that comes to a girl with her first boyfriend, not unlike a cat with its first mouse. "Maggie Toole's got a man at last," was the word that went around among the girls from the box factory. "Welcome him in, with trumpet music," said the men from the Give and Take Athletic Association, sounding bored and insulting. Usually at the weekly dances, Maggie sat by herself at the side of the hall. In fact, she kept the chair warm most of the evening. She felt and showed so much relief and pleasure whenever a partner invited her to dance that his kindness in asking her lost all value and satisfaction. She had even grown used to noticing Anna touch the not always willing Jimmy with her elbow as a signal for him to invite Maggie to dance. In the two-step that usually followed, Jimmy always prepared himself for Maggie's heavy feet to stamp on his toes as she tried without success to keep in time with the music. Tonight, everything changed for Maggie, as charming Terry O'Sullivan danced her around the floor in victory. Miss Maggie Toole tasted the first joy of having a partner like every other girl, and, although our feelings of magic are mixed with very human events, nothing could ruin the success of Maggie's one perfect night. The girls gathered around and pressed her for introductions to her partner. The Cloverleaf young men, after 2 years of not noticing Maggie at all, suddenly discovered the charms of the interesting Miss Toole. They stretched their huge muscles in front of her and asked her to save them a dance. Thus, Maggie had an exciting and very happy evening. However, the honors of the evening fell thick and fast to Terry O'Sullivan. He showed off his curls. He smiled and went easily through the 7 movements of a series of body exercises which are usually kept to perform in private each morning. He carried himself with style and introduced an atmosphere of perfect behavior to the other less-than-perfect young men. He spoke soft and romantic words and always found the correct thing to say to every girl. He danced twice, one after the other, with the girl from the box factory who came with Dempsey Donovan. Dempsey was the leader of the Give and Take Athletic Association. He wore a business suit and could raise his chin to rest it on the exercise bar twice, using only one hand. He was one of Big Mike O'Sullivan's support men and was never troubled by violence or any other crime, as no policeman dared to arrest him. Whenever he broke the head of a person selling fruit in the market or shot a member of the Heinrich B. Sweeney Outing and Literary Association in the knee, an officer would all around and say, "The captain would like to see you for a few minutes around in the office when you have time, Dempsey, my boy." When he arrived at the police station, there would be a number of gentlemen standing around with large gold watch chains and clack cigarettes. Somebody would tell a funny story, and the crimes of Dempsey would be forgotten. Dempsey would go back and work out for half an hour with the heaviest weights any man could lift. Everybody thought it would be safer, walking along a tight wire stretched across the water of Niagara Falls, compared to dancing twice Dempsey Donovan's girlfriend from the box factory. At 10 o'clock, the happy, round face of Big Mike O'Sullivan appeared at the door, and for 5 minutes he looked around at the scene in the hall. Every Saturday night, he always looked at the dance for 5 minutes, smiled at the girls, and handed out expensive cigarettes to the delighted boys. Dempsey Donovan moved up to Big Mike's side at once, talking quickly. Big Mike looked carefully at the dancers, smiled, shook his head, and left the hall. The music stopped, and the dancers moved off the floor to the chairs along the walls. Terry O'Sullivan, with a charming bow, returned a pretty girl in a blue dress to her partner and walked back to find Maggie. Dempsey stopped him in the middle of the floor. Some inner feeling that seems to have been born within all of us must have caused nearly everyone to turn and look at the two men staring at each other in the hall. There was a deep feeling that they were like two ancient fighters who had met on the battleground. 2 or 3 give-and-take members, bending tight muscles in their coat sleeves, moved closer. "Just a moment, Mr. O'Sullivan," said Dempsey. "I do hope you are enjoying yourself at our dance. Where did you say you live?" The two men were well matched. Dempsey was possibly 10 pounds less in weight than O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan was broad and very quick in movement. Dempsey had a cold eye, a thin mouth held tightly in control, a strong jaw, smooth skin, and the calm nature of a winner. The visitor showed more emotion in his behavior and less control over his insulting attitude to the other man. They were natural enemies by the law written when the earth was first shaped. They were each too superior, too proud, and too confident to divide the attention between them. Only one man would survive,